Hello, everyone. My name is Tanner Dutton. I am the ground-based division supervisor here at RIEGL USA. I'm excited to bring you the latest RIEGL USA webinar with our software partners with Mach9. So for this webinar, I'm joined by Max Leung, the founding senior solutions engineer for Mach9. So Max, thanks for joining. I'm excited for our conversations.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to showcase what we got here and bring on some of folks from our clientele as well that have used our neutral solutions.
Yeah, good to hear. So just to run everyone through what the planned agenda is today, we have it kind of split up into three sections. The first section will be from me, from RIEGL, mainly just exploring some of the latest MLS innovations, as well as some of the new stuff we have working and how that's helping bolster data extraction in platforms like Mach9. Max, you will then give a live demonstration of Digital Surveyor, your guys' extraction software, as well as provide our customers the great information of all the tools and benefits behind using the software. And really the most exciting part is at the end of all this, we're going to have a customer panel from our friends at TrueNet Communications and GPI Geospatial to discuss how people in the real world are using both RIEGL scanners and Mach9's data solutions to deliver on projects, which is the most important thing. So just to give some names to faces, these are our Max and I, as well as our panelists, Matt Woolley from TrueNet Communications, as well as Jonathan Austin from GPI Geospatial, who will be joining us during the panel discussion. So we're excited to have everyone here, and hopefully everyone gets a lot of good information from this. So diving in at least to the RIEGL, what's new in MLS, there's really three things I wanted to focus in on today that's improving our workflow for data extraction. The first one's going to be talking about the new VUX3HA sensor that's entered the market this year, and how it's integrated in with the VMX3HA and VMQ platforms. Obviously, better data always equals better data extraction. So just wanted to talk about how those sensors are pushing new boundaries in data extraction. I'm also going to talk very briefly on the RIEGL F IMU integration, which is RIEGL's INS GPS IMU solution, and how that's basically bolstering data extraction, as well as letting people get into the data extraction industry at a lower cost. And then I also want to talk about the VZI kinematic mode for our static systems and how those are being used as full-blown mobile systems now to create more opportunities for data extraction. So just to go quickly into the new systems we have available. So the VUX3HA has been out since the beginning of this year. It's RIEGL's newest, latest and greatest mobile sensor, bolstering 3 million points per second at a scan rate of 400 lines a second. That is currently the highest density and fastest spinning LiDAR scanner on the mobile market. So we're really, really excited about this sensor. This can be integrated both into the new VMX3HA as well as the new VMQ3HA. And combined together on the VMX platform, you're looking at up to 6 million points per second, 800 lines a second. So it's a lot of data. You're not missing anything. The survey grade accuracy has also been dropped with this new addition to 3 millimeters of accuracy and 2 millimeters of precision. So when you're talking about feature extraction with the higher pulse rate, line speed, and accuracy, you're getting denser point clouds, improving the extraction of utilities, road assets, power infrastructure, rail infrastructure, and vegetation in great detail. Just to show off a little bit what that point cloud looks like, here's a single pass from a VMX3HA. So you can see the data is extremely dense. All of it was collected with a single pass, classified with our tools. So you can see you're not really missing much on the roadway unless you go to the other side of the road. You can see there's excellent range performance from a sign really far away, really great accuracy up close on all these this bridge deck, and as well as the roadway infrastructure. Continuing on to talk a little bit about what is RIEGL doing to make data extraction more accessible to people. So I see that as simplifying the LiDAR systems we have in the market. So recently, as of the end of last year, we've been integrating RIEGL's RIEGL, which stands for Location Orientation Component, into our mobile systems. This has been a really, really big win for RIEGL, because RIEGL comes with a lot of benefits. One of the biggest benefits is a lower purchasing cost. So depending on the configuration you're looking at, the purchase cost has been reduced by 20-30% on most RIEGL MLS systems. This is big because it drops the barrier for people trying to enter the mobile market that still want high-end survey grade data. So we're dropping the price without cutting accuracies. RIEGL also has lower ongoing costs than traditional IMUs you see on the market. The field and back-end processing has been completely streamlined. RIEGL also allows for 3D laser observations to correct the trajectory, meaning things like the DMI and GAMs can be obsolete now on most projects. And it also means point clouds are a lot easier to put together. One of the things that we're actually excited to kind of announce today, the RIEGL F integration up until today was only available on the VMY1 and VMY2 platforms. It is now available on the VMQ 3HA platform, meaning that great LiDAR sensor that you just saw that data from is now available with the RIEGL F IMU, meaning that you can get into that sensor at a lower cost. So that means overnight, the VMQ 3HA's price has been reduced by about 30%, and ongoing costs have been reduced by about 50%. So we're really excited about the results we're getting from the RIEGL IMU, as well as the data we're getting from our new sensors and how those are going to be married to help perform data extraction. The last thing I quickly wanted to talk about as we talk about lowering the barrier for people getting into the market of data extraction is the success we're having with the VZI kinematic mode and application on our VZI scanners. This is available for the VZ600i, 400i, 1200i, and 2000i, and it allows you to transform your RIEGL terrestrial laser scanning system into a full-fledged mobile system without any extra hardware. Just to kind of show that off, this right here, what you see in that case is everything you need to start mobile mapping and start getting great data extraction. That box is the size that can fit in an airplane carry-on, meaning that you could theoretically fly it across the country, put it on a rental car, and collect data and start data extraction down the road. This significantly lowers the barrier of entry for mobile mapping because this system is small, compact. It's also a lot less purchase costs and operational costs than a traditional mobile mapping system. It also is a lot more flexible than a standard mobile mapping system since it supports backpacks, trucks, marine-based operations like boats for really rapid capture of assets in the industry, plus also having the benefit of it being a full-on static scanner as well. So here's another picture of it on a boat. We've actually had quite a bit of success with people putting them on marine platforms. Typically, it's really complex to get a mobile mapper on a boat, get the IMU calibrated correctly. But thanks to the way the laser observations work with the 600i, we're able to capture data really, really easy and really, really fast. This integration took me a total of about 10 minutes to get on the boat. The 600i and 1200i can capture 2.2 million points a second in this mode, so the point cloud is dense and accurate. It's considered survey grade, at least to us. And it can go up to speed to 20 miles an hour, so you can still move pretty quick. And this is just a quick screenshot just to show you guys what the data quality you can expect from a system is. This is from our customers at Aerotech Mapping. You can see this is a really complex interstate interchange, and most of the time you look at this and you're thinking, man, that needs to be a high-end mobile sensor. But with the 600i and its flexibility, that's not necessarily the case anymore. Large projects like this can be captured with a small device like the 600i. But with that in mind, we've captured all this great data. We have something to do with them. Max, I hope you can tell me what I can do with all my data, because data from RightProcess and RightScan Pro is, needs to be extracted and there needs to be value added. So how are we pushing that data to Mach9 and what are you guys doing with it, Max?
Thanks, Tanner. Really interesting stuff that RIEGL is doing, and what RIEGL has been really strong partners on our end to be able to support the data extraction workflows. It comes from all the hardware capabilities. So what I really want to introduce you today is about Mach9, about Visual Survey 2, really about the production software to help you streamline the extraction process using AI-powered CAD for LiDAR feature extraction. So what that means is that be able to actually extract out all different assets, whether it's information like having pole information, having signage, having all the different curbs, really for our survey grade customers as well. Be able to leverage the LiDAR, both the LiDAR and the imagery itself, and be able to visualize this, access it in a cloud environment. And we'll showcase this later on today to share with you really what we can do within a platform and how powerful it is just kind of at the hands of your computer itself. In this instance, we'll also go through some of the validation when it comes to QA/QC, as I know that a lot of folks in the crowd today would probably be interested in how do you actually validate this data itself and ultimately deliver back into the formats that you need, whether it's CAD, whether it's GIS, or other formats as well. So in that scenario, I really want to share about some of the work that we're doing across different applications. As Tanner had alluded to earlier, a lot of the extraction workflows are beyond just transportation corridors or sites or airports, some of the urban landscapes, as well as some of the telecom and utility spaces when it comes to leveraging some of the drone data itself as well. So we're happy to announce that we are really be able to support different types of scanners itself. We've had clientele from RIEGL leverage a lot of our terrestrial scanning capabilities, also our mobile mapping, as well as the UAV drone side and fixed wing piece as well. So what we want to go through today is a couple of examples from RIEGL data to really show you what it's like when it comes to extraction and the outputs, and really go through a couple of different examples as well. So in terms of the workflow itself, how it really works is there's a data acquisition and server control piece. They'll be able to calibrate and process. RIEGL's really core strength is around that piece as well. And then highlighted blue here is where Mach9 comes in terms of that workflow, be able to actually detect all the information, classify, as well as attribute all the different information that I mentioned earlier as well. And so in terms of how that actual workflow works, we've broken it down. You can see some examples here where you can break it out into different templates, essentially matching up the schema that you have, whether it's a DOT specific, a utility specific, or a company specific schema that needs to be matched as well, and then be able to extract out all the different features, whether it's poles, whether it's the different types of curbs, as well as all the guardrails, etc., and then ultimately validate and export it out as well. So with that, I'd like to jump into a quick live demo of Digital Surveyor 2 in action, and then open up to our panelists to share kind of their experience as well using the RIEGL to Mach9 workflow as well. So with that, I'm going to pass. We'll jump right in to our demonstration.
This data set in front of me was collected with the BMX2HA and run through Digital Surveyor 2's automation. Everything you see here is strictly from the automation. Nothing's been done to it yet or has not been reviewed by us. On the left layers panel here, you'll see a list of layers. These are really just our demo of generic layering that we use to show our customers what we're able to automate so that it's very well spelled out. These can be fully customized to fit whatever your templates are, whatever your template needs are downstream, so that everything can easily be exported out to the DWG, DXF, DGN, shapefiles, geodatabase, field to finish, CSVs for your points and line vertices. If you run field to finish at all, you're able to set all of that up, have it completely aligned to what you prefer and like working with, so that it's a comfortable and something familiar for you. The right side is some of our details that you can control here. Since this was collected with the 2HA, if I zoom in, we just have a fantastic dense point cloud here to work with. Really nice intensity as well that you can kind of see. And we can switch to some other options. If this point cloud was colorized, we can view the color. We have some settings such as elevation rainbow, which is really nice for things like the crown of road that we're able to help automate. We also have classification. We classify data sets on upload for our users. We're also very unique in that we will also work with any and allow any classification that you provide us. So you have kind of the best of both worlds. You can go between the two of them here. And then, of course, those different intensity views that we were looking at already. So, and in terms of the different objects, everything that you see here, again, that automated, we have overhead wires, ground road, we have your curved lines here for you, automated. We have paint striping. We're able to tell you is it a dash paint stripe, solid paint stripe. We're able to also tell the paint stripe coloring, thanks to having imagery from, in this case, the Ladybug 6 camera. And then we can also provide things like guardrails, barriers, along highways, a number of other line features. And then we have our point features as well. So point features could be things like signs, manholes, telephone poles, light poles, anything of those sorts, where you're able to click on them and signs can be identified. We can actually open up imagery to view signs. Sign text can be extracted out for projects. And then another nice way to kind of view for the different objects, viewing line work, whatever it may be, we're able to also go into a nice trajectory view here, allowing us to have that great image overlay of our line work along with our points. So if we had any additional cameras set up with the system during collection, those actually would be overlaid here as well. As you zoom in and out, those images would take over versus the Ladybug spherical image. You're able to kind of move along the trajectory as well. You can go a few steps forward, a few steps back, kind of work our way through. It's just a great way to really go through doing any type of visual cleanup work on the data set, especially for things like objects and some of the finer things with our line work. In order to do anything with objects, we actually need that imagery. The imagery is very critical for us for that. It helps us improve our line work. So it's really nice to have that great strong imagery off of that Ladybug 6, in addition to the just awesome laser quality that we have as well here from the 2HA. So if I turn on my point vertices, we can see where some of these line up. I tell everybody with the automation, it's a great first pass. It's going to get you a big bulk of the way there, especially in areas like the straightaways. So our automation will run at a set interval. You can control it. You could specify I want it every 25 feet. You could say you want every 5 feet, 50 feet, whatever it is, and it will do that. But you can also specify that you need it. It will also add in these extra vertices for you, where it knows that this extra detail is needed because there's changes in horizontal changes, vertical changes, whatever they may be. One great example is this little nice manhole here, curb inlet, sorry. You're able to see that it did put the lines. The lines need that last little bit of adjusting. Our models are always improving. If you've caught one of our previous webinars versus now, you may be looking at this and saying, hey, there's some more things going on here than what I've seen in the last webinar. There's overhead wires, there's crown of road being shown. The line work overall just looks better. They're always getting better, but there's always those key areas to look at. I tell everybody the intersections, your curb inlets, those are the areas I focus on for curb. But those can be super quick and easy fixes where maybe I just make use of some of our point snaps and I can get those vertices set right back to where they need to go. I can always go into a cross-section view, bring it up, look at those points as well, and make that a quick adjustment in here for it. If I really want to, another nice thing we can look at is we can use this view. We can turn it sideways here and kind of view along. I love doing this because I can get that nice verification that these points are lined up well with any of the inflection points I need to catch in the pavement. Sometimes you get those extra inflection points just to promote drainage to the curb inlets. You want to make sure you get those captured for the sake of your tin model. It's a great way to be able to capture those and look and do that. Being able to check along the lines, we can come in here, we can add extra vertices really easily to multiple points. It updates in both views for us. And I'm just going to select that. Oh, and then from there, I could always, maybe I just go in and I'm going to keep looking through my different cross sections, checking the points if I need to. So I don't have to just go cross section by cross section. I could actually scrub along the lines. Another nice customer favorite in here, being able to kind of move right along here, checking everything so that any work that I do can be easily adjusted. I can add extra vertices in, stop it everywhere I need to, and go from there. And then when the time comes, if I need to, you go through, you check all your curbs. You're happy with it there. You're happy at your intersections here. You feel like everything's been captured really nicely for an ADA ramp. So and now it's time to move on to that next step of your survey where you need to do something like using grid of points. You could just do real easy, straightforward. We can just go decide on first. Actually, I'm going to turn off, again, thanks to the classification, I'm going to turn off these dynamic objects. I'm going to turn off my vegetation. I'm even going to turn off my poles and wires. I can turn off buildings. I really just want my ground glass kept on here. And I'm going to select here, go to my grid of points, and I could tell it I want them stationed every 3 feet. And we can actually kind of specify here where these points should land. And you can see that it will line them up with the key stationing locations on my data set. I have some kind of control over that. Or if I wanted at just a very strict interval, I could come in and say, hey, you know what, just every 25 feet. And we're going to make sure the points all stay within our pavement area. So now I could do that. In this case, it would run in a lot more spots for me. Down here we have where if there's some edge of pavement I could trim to. Over here, the pavement actually kind of disappears. It's actively getting paved on this side of the road, but I have a lot of flexibility, even here with some of these more manual tools. And I can choose now an accuracy level that I want the tool to run through. So this talks back to the servers. It's talking back to our AI models, and it's going to calculate out for all these points and place them for us. So these 1,681 points, it'll run through and place them all at the ground for me. And if you caught that right here on the left, some of the points were quickly dropping down because they're getting placed for us. So runs right through. It could take a couple seconds for some of those last little straggler points. That's okay. And from there, we get a nice preview. It tells us what points fail, what points we may not want to keep. We can actually remove them and hit complete. And there we have it. So I'm going to turn those off. Just kind of showing you that nice tool. We've had some nice updates too here. But again, data quality is kind of key with getting these tools to run real well with our models, whether it's straight out of the gate from the automation or running through with how well these other tools that are semi-automated work. And that's really where the RIEGL systems excel from what we see. They provide just great data for us that customers consistently get reliable results here. So if I turn all of these classifications back on, a great way I like to kind of show that is even looking here through this neighborhood. We have kind of more of that valley curve going through. We have a lot of those sidewalks, but our model was even able to start pulling back here where it's more sparse, but it was able to start pulling like even the sidewalks going around some of these houses, which is really, really cool. And just great to see. And in this case, it was just a quick pass that we have. We don't even have multiple passes through here or anything. It was just the one going right through, and it really looks really great. You kind of see some of the curb transition from an F curve, that other curve, and it caught that for us, which is great. It's just again really nice, and that makes it so much easier to work in here, work real smoothly in here with some of these other tools that we have. Anything that you can really think of, you're going to have tools in here to be able to do to get you to closer to that end deliverable. So I know we've been kind of talking about the mobile side of things, but I did want to highlight too, with a few minutes, also the VZ600i. We do have one of those data sets here pulled up. We are getting more and more customers that are doing these smaller high density sites. This is actually a pretty large area that was scanned with the 600i, but it's just the terrestrial data as well looks really great in here. It does really well, so that you can get all the maximized benefits from any project you're scanning, really, regardless of what system you're using. So here's the static data. Few blocks were scanned with the 600i, and again, some great data was put through here as well. In this case, we do have that colorized for it. We also have can also view with the classification, so you guys can kind of see how well it classifies the trees, the building, this overpass, all classified as building, the wires, poles, ground. If I turn on the dynamic objects, you'll see a lot of that noise that we filtered out. Again, it works so nicely in here. It's great to see how well this can be for users. So we can jump back to that colored and we can go into that image overlay as well. And you guys can see just how nice that is here for everybody. Sign we picked up, the model added in the sign text for us. We're still able to do stuff like our tree diameters as well. The tree diameter was in here for us. We of course have that. We go out of here. We jump into a cross section, and you can see how nice the data looks. Just again, great data and results, letting you be able to do whatever you really need to in here. Make quick edits, draw, add in anything that's needed. Very quick and easy, so that you can kind of keep working, get moving around in here, and do whatever you need to. So,
Well, thank you, Max, for the great demo. It's great to see all the new tools you guys have integrated into the new Digital Surveyor 2 platform. But I'm ready to hear directly from our clients how they're using Digital Surveyor 2. So with this in mind, we're going to jump now to our interview with our panelists. So. I hope everyone enjoyed the first part of our webinar, as well as the demonstration of Mach9. Seth, really wanted to thank you for joining us, giving us the great demonstration, and going through all the tools. At least since the last time I looked at Digital Surveyor, you guys have had a lot of great stuff. So it's good to see all the new tools and how you're advancing extraction for our clients. With that in mind, this next section, we're going to be just asking some quick questions from a few of our clients in the industry who are using both RIEGL devices and Mach9 extraction. So we have both Matt Woolley and Jonathan Austin joining us. So just to start the questions off, both Jonathan and Matt, could you give us a quick introduction of yourself, your company, what your position is in the industry?
Yeah, I can start. So yeah, my name is Matt Woolley. I work for TrueNet Communications. I am our vice president of IT. So with that role, I support anything that's technology based, systems based, hardware based, et cetera, et cetera. And for those of you that don't know TrueNet, TrueNet is a full service critical infrastructure construction and engineering company. We operate in 48 of the 50 states so far. And our most recent, within the last 5 years, service that we've added is our digital data capture team. Jonathan?
All right. I'm Jonathan Austin. I'm a geospatial program manager with GPI Geospatial. GPI Geospatial is a full service survey and mapping firm. We're also a subsidiary to Greenman Peterson Incorporated, which is the civil engineering firm the East Coast of the United States. In addition to conventional survey, we also specialize in any kind of remote sensing data capture. So we own RIEGL scanners, like Tanner said. We have fixed wing aircraft to do aerial LiDAR and photogrammetry acquisition and mapping. We also have the VMX 2HA mobile LiDAR scanner and static scanners as well. So that's kind of my primary focus is remote sensing data acquisition. I work especially with our mobile LiDAR program and really focused on asset inventories and helping our transportation clients with managing their assets, figuring out what they have.
Nice. Well, we appreciate both of you joining us today, and to talk about both RIEGL and Mach9 to a good sized audience. I would get the questions started, and I'll let Max and Seth kind of fill in behind me. The first thing I would ask you guys: there's a lot of extraction softwares on the market, and the number kind of grows by the day. What's the number one aspect when you're evaluating like data extraction software? What's the number one aspect you guys are looking for in those tools?
Yeah, I think for TrueNet, it was a couple of different factors. One, does it fit our needs? Because while there's several different softwares out there, they each seem to have their own niche. So for us, we primarily serve the tier 1 telecommunication companies. So Max, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was 3 years ago, I ran into Mach9 at GeoWeek, or maybe anyway, one of the shows, doesn't matter. And after, I had been there talking to everybody, been to multiple shows talking to everybody. And when I ran into Mach9, I just kind of knew immediately that these guys knew what they were doing. And honestly, I realized in that moment that that's what TrueNet was going to need is a company that was entering the market, a company that's not experts in this field, at least at that time. I knew we were going to need some support from the vendor. So I think for us, as well as the product, being capable and robust, I think vendor support was super critical to our company.
No, nice.
And I would probably second what Matt said about vendor support. That is critical. Also, if at GPI Geospatial, we're really interested in the accuracy of the products that we're getting. So when we're looking at a software for extraction, I guess what I really want to look at is how the data is visualized so that we can check the quality of the extracted features and see that really clearly, what it is that we're actually extracting. So that's something that's really important to us is how clearly can we visualize the data? Because working with RIEGL scanners, the data is incredibly dense. And it's so much information that we have there. And to be able to pull out what we need to give our clients, I think being able to see that clearly is really what's important for us.
Nice. Yeah, accuracy is always king. That's what we say here, right? And be able to visualize and prove it in a software is important. Max, Seth, do you guys have a question? You guys go next.
Yeah. I'm really curious in terms of, Matt, you mentioned about, the mobile mapping program that, you helped develop at TrueNet, and also Jonathan as well at GPI Geospatial. Like, maybe walk us through, what does that mobile mapping program look like, today, generally how you're supporting some of your clients, and where does, the RIEGL and digital surveyor approach fits into the whole workflow right now?
Yeah, I can go first. I think Jonathan's use cases will be a little different than mine. However, because we support the tier one telcos, what we found is that our primary usage so far has been to support our field walkouts. So for those of you that don't know what that means, is that anytime you're doing a design for a telco or a cable company or fiber company, whatever the case is, it requires a field walkout before the actual engineering for the route can be accomplished. So in this case, we started seeing years ago that number one, the industry was changing. The old ways of doing things weren't going to suffice, and I'll explain that in just a second. So we started investing in technology. Well, we did that time, thinking back on it now, we really didn't know what that meant, but we knew it was going to involve LiDAR, and we knew it was going to involve some sort of AI. So we set out, I was able to, hook up with Tanner and RIEGL and the team. I think we bought a VMY1 first because we also wanted to put that on our drone. Now we have a VMY2 on a separate vehicle, but for field data collection right now, what we're getting is a lot of long haul routes. So routes where there needs to be connectivity over 1,000, 1,500 miles. So the old way that would happen is you would amass a large number of bodies, which we call boots on the ground, and they would literally walk that entire route. Which, you can do the math. I mean, if you can do 5-10 miles a day out in a rural area, maybe a mile a day in something that's dense, that's going to take a lot of people a lot of time. Today, we're able to drive down the road at 60 miles an hour, collect all that data, throw it into Mach9, and, to Jonathan's or whoever's earlier point, we're at the 80% once it's feature extracted. So, for us, I think that the time savings is critical, but TrueNet views it as more of a capability, right? This just wouldn't be possible if we didn't have this technology. I know everybody's involved in data centers in one form or another, and at the speed in which they want to build, it's just not possible without this type of technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's some overlap between what we're seeing, although I'm more in the transportation space. Where we were was basically we were using these really high-end scanners to replace field survey, on transportation corridors where we don't want to have a field crew in danger. Mobile LiDAR would allow us to capture that data and produce really high-end survey grade maps. Where I'm kind of seeing our market going and what our program looks like is it's becoming really, really acquisition heavy. So it's doing very large projects for full roadway networks, with the goal being asset inventory. So basically, we're able to take the accuracy of these survey grade scanners now and apply that for asset owners. Maybe more of a GIS centric environment, and it's basically unlocked the information that we've been capturing with the laser scanners, and then automated tools like what Mach9 has to actually pull out those features in a budget friendly way. I think it's made projects possible that weren't possible before. Just the asset owners didn't have the finances for that kind of effort. And in that regard, where we're kind of similar, Matt, is you mentioned the boots on the ground that traditionally would have done it. I always like to say we're replacing an army of interns with GPS units.
Yep.
It's really let us do projects in a safe and a cost-effective way that we couldn't do before. I've seen more of those asset owners look for this kind of work, looking for vendors to provide it.
Yeah, I think an additional benefit that we haven't truly realized yet, but we know that it's coming, is that TrueNet owns the data, the route path that we collect. And we are aggregating that into a single like GIS database. So after we give the deliverable to the customer, which is what they're paying for, we still have access to that data. So we know that as time goes on, there's going to be some overlap, or another customer or municipality or, home builder, whoever is going to require that same data. Okay. And we will have already collected it and have it available. So that kind of opens the door for some additional revenue at no extra cost to us. So I think that most of the people in this game understand that. But it is an additional benefit that hopefully we look forward to capitalizing on someday. But it does take a while to get enough information and enough data collected to get it out there.
Yeah, I feel like it's a constant conversation of I feel like you're setting on a quote unquote gold mine of information. You're only extracting one thing out, right?
Yeah, and the long haul's really making it pretty interesting. Typically, you would have 10-mile routes or, things like that. And now we're getting 1,000-mile routes. So that part of it is becoming much more interesting to us. I know that through the end of the year, we have like 2,000 or 3,000 miles we have to scan and deliver. And that number seems to be growing month over month now.
And I used to do telecommunication design in a past life. And I remember getting as-builds on napkins. And I wish I could have been getting as-builds with information from a platform like Mach9. It would have definitely been a game changer.
I know whenever somebody on our team complains about something, I say, "Hey, I can send you your crayons back." That what I
Yeah.
And of course they're like, "No."
Seth, did you have any questions you want to ask them? I'll let you go next.
I'll let Max ask the next one.
No, I'm really curious, both Matt, yourself, and Jonathan, you mentioned the scale and of some of the projects they're doing and all that, and really unlocking things that you previously might have not even considered. I'm curious to get a better understanding of like what sort of people would ask and what sort of speed elements are you gaining, but not just from from a metrics perspective, but what does that unlock when it comes to just personnel, just from a standpoint of unlocking other parts of the business that weren't traditionally there, whether it's pursuing more opportunities as well. So can you kind of walk me through that piece as well, like that speed element that you both touched on earlier as well?
You want to go, Jonathan, or you want me to?
Yeah, I think I have an answer to that one. Yeah, so I think what I'm seeing is there's a shift in how we're using our people. So instead of looking for our our extractors to sit there and be robots extracting it, just pulling out the information, what we are moving toward is viewing them as experts in the deliverable. So if instead of having them just do the repetitive tasks over and over, what we can focus on is developing them to be masters of the craft and creating maps and really knowing what the information would be. Because I don't really see jobs being replaced in what we're doing here. It's more of just a change in how we're using people. It's going to be more heavy on the QA QC deliverable side. And I think that really would help out, not burning people out doing the same thing over and over again every day. Now they're checking and producing those deliverables. I think it's almost an increase in expertise. It's kind of what we're seeing for our people. That's kind of the vision I have for where things are going.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with Jonathan more. I mean, we call it cross training, at TrueNet. Uh, Kind of an interesting, story. We onboarded um, somebody that's going to support the vehicle itself and go out and do the scans. And he went out with one of our senior people and completed like 200 or 300 miles. But when they got back, he started doing some of the post processing work, and within a day had caught on. So that is a testament to Mach9 and Digital Surveyor 2. And it's not just how powerful it is, it's how user friendly it is. And at TrueNet, and I think Jonathan was alluding to this a little bit too, is that we're not replacing heads, but we are looking for younger kids to come into this business that can grow and work their way up the ladder. And we're just seeing example after example, especially in the digital data capture division, where that's paying off every day. Because these kids grew up with this type of technology. It doesn't scare them. They're not afraid to fail or push a button or try, which unfortunately we get with our legacy um, generation of workers. So, and like it or not, the world is changing, and it's changing very quickly. Geospatial data and databases and mapping are at the forefront of that change.
Absolutely. And I think one of the big pieces that you both alluded to, I know, Matt, you alluded to earlier, and Jonathan as well, is, the way that you're looking at it in terms of where that extraction capacity has changed, how that has shifted. But I'm curious in terms of how you look at it from a scoping perspective, or looking at, bidding for more work. It how does that change your approach from that standpoint of, hey, maybe there's an unlock for certain types of opportunities that weren't there before. And I know, Matt, you mentioned about different opportunities unlocking beyond just some of the long haul pieces as well. But I'm curious to kind of get your take on that, and Jonathan, on the take of some of the different DOTs and other kind of opportunities out there as well.
Yeah, I can take this one right out of the gate because it's one of our major focuses. Is that anytime we can increase our revenue without incurring more costs, is a direction we want to go. So, and what I mean by that is this technology and Mach9 allows us to do more production with the same head count, period. It's just a fact. So if I can send two guys in a truck and go cover 1,000 miles in 8 days, have them loop back around and then join the team that's doing, the feature extraction and QC, and then potentially even help the engineers with some of the designs. It it's increasing my capacity by an unmeasurable amount at this point. That said, Max, I know you really want to know these numbers a little more um, exact, but right now TrueNet's just figuring out how to compile that data. And I think by year's end, we will have enough information where we can take an honest look at it and say, okay, how much capacity has it created? What I can tell you is that we're doing a lot more footage with the same head count by exponential amounts. And another thing with what we do, just by what the AI and digital surveyor is doing, a tangential benefit of that is it cut our engineers' requirements by half, meaning, or their scope by half. Because by the time it gets handed off, half of their previous scope has already been completed. So now all they have to do is lay in the design, whereas before they had to create the template, create the base map, create all that stuff. now it's just there.
For sure. And yeah, Jonathan, on your side, kind of curious to kind of get your take on how it's supporting some of your approaches as well.
Yeah, I think so. In addition to just opening opportunities that just weren't there before, in terms of using the really dense survey grade LiDAR data for bigger projects, asset inventory type projects. It's really just allowing us to help serve our existing clients better. So a client that's used to getting a high quality survey grade projects, now they can think bigger, and we can help them scale up. So as part of an engineering firm, we're really in the consulting business. We're here to help our clients and consult with them and provide solutions. And I think this just opens up the door to provide even more solutions. So it's taking the same quality that we routinely provided on maybe smaller projects, uh, 10-mile survey grade projects or so, and it's scaling that up to support our clients better. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for. And I think, of course, that comes with what Matt was saying, is the more profits as well. I mean, if you
It's margin. Yeah. I mean,
if you're doing more work, and you can be more efficient at it, there's your revenue.
yeah, I think another thing, Max, that the door that's been opened as well is, let's say Jonathan here has all of his vehicles out running at capacity, but needs a scan done, and he knows that we've got our vehicle. He can give us a call and say, hey, can you just go drive the route and get us the data, right? Which TrueNet is happy to do. So I think that kind of, and likewise, we might be in that same scenario where we have to reach out to partners and do the same. So simply by owning the equipment has introduced, a new service that we can provide, not just supporting TrueNet needs.
Yeah, we always talk about it being more of a mobile LiDAR community, not competitors, right? Obviously,
There's
all
just not enough of us out there. There isn't.
obviously,
I know we're all hunting for work, but there's more work than we can all do.
yeah. So it was great to have those connections in the industry, especially if you know their downstream workflow includes. You understand how they're doing their extraction because it's coming from the same place, same platform that's got the same tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, in that case, if it was Jonathan and GPI, we wouldn't even need to load. We just let him load it in Mach9, knowing that, so it'd be a no-brainer for him or us for that matter.
So from a project perspective, and when you're bidding out projects, you're looking at the project scope. Is there a balance ongoing on when you're deciding to use an automatic feature extraction like Mach9 versus traditional? What's that thought process look like, or is it pretty much or always kicking into automatic processes now?
For us, it's, obviously quantity, like how much footage do they have to go grab. If it's only a mile and it's near somewhere we already have bodies, we're probably just going to have somebody go walk it. But keep in mind that although we serve 48 of the 50 states, we don't have bodies just sitting around in every state. So the traditional method would require, plane tickets, times 10, if it's a bigger route, or more, it would, hotels, per diem, all those things. Where again, if we can just send two guys out in the truck, that lowers the overall cost in that department exponentially. So what we've found is that I don't know that we're really offering a more competitive price to our customer than previous. I mean, the telecom industry is pretty bottom of the barrel as far as pricing goes. But what it does do is give us an opportunity to increase our margin.
Yeah, I would say I don't know. Similarly, there is a tipping point somewhere along the line in the size of the project to where the QC effort is lower than what it would take to extract the data manually, that kind of thing. I don't know exactly where that tipping point is, but that is definitely something we look at as, how much can we automate of a project before it's cost effective, knowing that we're going to go through and QC everything before we submit that deliverable. I don't know what that tipping point is exactly. And I think one thing that we consider too is just because something is automated, it doesn't necessarily reduce the value of that product. So which is challenging in a consulting business when you're getting paid by the hour or something like that for the work that you're doing. But ultimately the value comes from the deliverable and what your client can do with that. So it's kind of tricky to balance that with through conversation with your client and what they actually need from the deliverable. That's kind of where we can work with that on a cost perspective.
We have time probably for one more question, Max. Do you have a closer for our clients?
Yeah, well, I think you alluded to earlier, it's such a powerful tool that you can actually go do some of the downstream aspects. I'm curious, for somebody that's started running the mobile mapping and the automated extraction, the process, in some of the production workflows, what is something that now that perhaps maybe you wish you knew at the very beginning, and something that maybe some of our viewers can kind of get away with from today's session as well?
I wish. I mean, what we didn't understand in the beginning is what I would consider the middle part of the workflow, the feature extraction, and what that would take. How do we allocate time into that bid? I think that most people only look at the bookends, meaning that the vehicle's out there collecting, and then you have your final deliverable on the other side. And while the technology is great and it's very detailed, there is a lot of work that happens in the post-processing. First through RIE process, through the RIEGL product, and then through Mach9. And that doesn't, while the first pass through Mach9's AI does a fantastic job, it still requires bodies to QC it. The AI models are getting better all the time. Max and team, you guys do a fantastic job staying up on your product and coming up with better solutions every day. But at the end of the day, there's still a middle component. And I think that's what Jonathan was alluding to here just a minute ago, is that, for whatever reason, it got put out into the marketplace that if somebody's going to show up and use LiDAR, it's going to be free because it's so fast. It's like there is a trade-off, right? There is data cost. There is post-processing cost, which is why we focus on, I could just view it as capacity. Without it, we wouldn't be able to do it, but it's not necessarily coming at a much less of a cost. It does provide us opportunity to reduce our cost, but it's not a guarantee.
I would say I'm not too surprised by anything that Digital Surveyor has done so far. And I even from hearing about it for the first time, probably a couple of years ago, and seeing where it's gone, it was kind of inevitable for things to get better, right? And I think you guys have done a really good job at improving the tools. And I guess one thing that I have been really impressed with is the visualization. Seeing the LiDAR data and the imagery on top of each other, that is really helping with the mapping effort. I guess one thing that I would say that I wish I had thought more about is kind of what I mentioned earlier about this isn't really replacing people's jobs. This isn't, Max, you're not coming to take our jobs. You're making our jobs easier and helping people make these products better. So that is one thing that I try to keep in mind. Sure.
Yeah, thanks. Well, we are right at 3 o'clock, so we are out of time, unfortunately. But I wanted to first thank Max, Seth, Jonathan, Matt for joining us. Thought this conversation was great. Hope our audience got a lot of good information from it. Everyone in the audience, thank you for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And you will see this uploaded later on to YouTube if anyone wants to rewatch it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, you guys.